uh, we can see the University of Tokyo Sri Lanka office. We set in October 2019, but officially opened in 16th of January 2020. Now this year is very important year for Sri Lanka. We are celebrating 70th diplomatic anniversary between Japan and Sri Lanka. So it is a great privilege for the University of Tokyo Sri Lanka office to incorporate educational programs links with Sri Lanka. So the most important thing we know, the Ministry of Education in Japan, all the time they revise their policies on time. So it is great pleasure and honor to stand here as the director of the University of Tokyo Sri Lanka office and president of the Japanese Graduate Alumni Association in this 70th year of commemorative sessions on diplomatic relations. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology of Japan, usually abbreviate as the MEXT, review education policies, and they started the study on Japan Global Network Project. That project implement all over the world. To implement the study on Japan Global Network Project, the Ministry of Education in Japan, MEXT, they divided entire world into 5 regions, and with respect to the Southwest Asia, we in Sri Lanka call South Asia, the Foreign Ministry in Japan called Southwest Asia. So to implement this project, they started first office in India in 2014. Then the second office started in Colombo in 2020. While I was serving as the Japan Foundation Scholar in the University of Tokyo, the University of Tokyo Alumni Office head, Mr. Kazuhiro Mori, invited me to have discussion how to implement the study on Japan Sri Lanka project. So there, of course, we could have a fruitful discussion, and we started this project. Initially, we were functioning in Vambalapitiya office, as well as today the most visible areas are our websites and the homepage, where the University of Tokyo homepage, there is a section for the University of Tokyo Sri Lanka office. And the second is the Facebook page. So there are youngsters, they are always going with the face. The University of Tokyo office currently serving 3 people. The last 2 years, they have been their level best to promote awareness campaigns in Sri Lanka. So we have conducted stakeholder meetings with relevant people, because the study in Japan Global Network project has the main view that we need to collaborate each other, collect each other, and go together. Actually, in this line, the Embassy of Japan in Sri Lanka helped a lot to conduct all these awareness sessions. And of course, we started actually from the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Tokyo. Mr. Kazuhiro Mori and myself visited Honorable the Ganganath Dissanayake, His Excellency Ganganath Dissanayake was the ambassador at that time. He facilitated and discussed the implementation of the project. Thereafter, we met the the University of Tokyo Sri Lanka Alumni Association in Japan, and we discussed regarding this project. Then we visited the Japanese embassy in Sri Lanka. His Excellency also supported us. Then of course we visited JICA office in Sri Lanka. We had stakeholder discussions. Takayuki Kawakami contributed a lot from the embassy to these stakeholder discussions. We had many stakeholder discussions how to conduct this project in Sri Lanka. Some professors visited from Tokyo. Mr. James and some other officers also came to Sri Lanka. And Professor Satoshi also visited. In Japan, the Sri Lanka Student Association, every year they conduct annual research seminar. So we visited alumni, that seminar. We couple of times every year we deliver our thoughts with them. We exchange our thoughts with them, and the Sri Lanka Student Association also cooperate with the University of Tokyo Sri Lanka office. Then of course the two vice presidents from the University of Tokyo visited the Colombo, University of Colombo, met the Vice Chancellor, and we discussed about the close collaboration with the University of Colombo and the University of Tokyo. Then we had stakeholder discussions in several with the several counterpartners like JASO and all other Japanese counterpartners, in Sri Lankan counterpartners as well. And we touched the Japanese Teachers Alumni Association in Sri Lanka. We conducted stakeholder discussion with Japanese Teachers Alumni Association, and we conducted many other stakeholder discussions with the relevant partners. So awareness campaigns we conducted in universities in Sri Lanka, the University of Kelaniya, the University of Sri Jayawardenepura, University of Colombo, Sabaragamu University of Colombo, Wayamba University of Colombo. We conducted the awareness programs with Kelaniya University because there is one center, Japanese Language Center, first Japanese Language Studies Center in Kelaniya. So we started with them the interactive discussions. Then we visited the University of Sri Jayawardenepura. Professor Shiranta Heenkenda, Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, incorporate this discussion, and he organized discussion, and all the staff members also attended with respect to that. Then we visited the University of Colombo students as well. We had some sessions. We visited the Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. Vice Chancellor at that time, Professor P.L. Ekanayaka, also from Japanese graduate, and he collaborated with us, and we did a successful awareness session. Then we visited various other universities, Sabaragamu University and other places as well. Then awareness programs conducted in schools, which will be very important for you, because we have conducted, you can see the total number here, we have conducted 105 school sessions, except the university and other sessions. Around 11,800 students participated for our discussions, awareness sessions, and we categorized these seminars, awareness campaign, over 200 students. There are 11 schools we conducted, over 200 to 100 students, 32 sessions we conducted, schools, and below 100 students we conducted 50 sessions, and combined schools, several schools together via the Zoom linkage we conducted 15. And the interesting nature, you can see the participation in terms of gender, that you can see in larger schools, the majority of students participating, female students, they are doing Japanese language, and even they have interest to go to Japan. And when the school size becoming smaller, that the male is little bit higher. So it's a new finding. We know that even advanced level schools now, female participation is very high in Sri Lanka. So the thing that in future we have to conduct more awareness sessions for female students. They are willing to participate in Japanese programs. So this is our number, and you can see we visited the Vishaka Vidyalaya and conducted our awareness program. Even there, Matra, the annual cultural program, and they accepted the Japanese ways of thinking. And then, of course, we visited a summary of the schools visits. You can see over 300 student participation, and even 200 student, 300 to 100, and many school participations, even going to suburb like Biyagama Central College, and going into other, you can see long distance places like Balangoda. We visited and conducted physically before the COVID-19 health crisis started, and we conducted many sessions in Kuliyapitiya Saranath College. One of the important sessions we conducted, large number attended. Then finally, as the collaborative project, we started teaching Japanese in University of Tokyo, University of Colombo, with the Tokyo support, because we know that mainly in Sri Lanka, when we conduct the awareness sessions, students are asking where to learn Japanese. Even the IELTS, they have 7 or 6.5. We know that they have to live in Japan. The society is Japanese, so they need to at least get level 3 of the JLPT examination, to certain extent Japanese. So therefore, in this regard, my institute, where I'm serving as the director, the Institute of Human Resource Advancement, we started last September the Japanese language courses, which are successfully conducting now in University of Colombo. So because of this awareness campaign, we understood the student request. What kind of student request? Because we know there are 786 universities in Japan. So there are enormous opportunities for Sri Lankan students. If they are really talented in English language, Japanese language, they don't want to worry the university degree in Sri Lanka. We know that students are paying very high money to foreign affiliated universities in Sri Lanka. Instead of that, they can experience good culture, they can experience the high technology, high quality technology in Japan. Actually, one of the most important thing I learned in Japan, Honorable Minister, this is very important, because in Sri Lanka we provide all the things free. But even the rich person's son or daughter, when they are in university, they do part-time work. They are independent. The university students are independent. They do part-time work and earn the money and living. So during the 4 years, they know how to earn money, how to save money, how to invest money. Even that period, they learn the financial literacy by themselves. But we give free education, we give all scholarships, everything free, and as a result, some are even not attending university lectures. There are some extreme cases I'm referring. So therefore that I think for Sri Lankan universities also, we need to introduce this part-time working system. Because during the working, while they are in university, because all the 100% students in Japan, they do part-time working, because that's the time where they can get the financial literacy. So this kind of cultural and social differences, we can learn a lot from Japanese universities, and we need to link our this 16 universities very well to Japanese universities, and we have about 10,000 schools. We have around 4.5 million school students. Actually, this crowd, they can get a very nice green light if they join, and if they know the awareness campaign. When we are doing awareness campaign, what we realize that when we go to school, everybody like to go to Japan, but they don't know what are the requirements they have to make, particularly for how much they have to get the IELTS, how to do IELTS, or how much Japanese knowledge they want, when to apply, how to apply. So these are kind of, role of agencies, but without taking any single cent. The University of Tokyo established this to facilitate the Sri Lankan students. So it is a marvelous opportunity what we could implement during last 2 years. I hope we can collaborate in future. And with the university project in this year, to commemorate this 70th anniversary of the diplomatic ceremony, we decided to publish this commemorative volume in December 2022 that will be launched. So far, I have received about 4 chapters from Sri Lankan professors and Japanese professors. They are teaching in Japan. So I hope the Sri Lankan Japanese graduates, we have many university graduates, including Professor Sampath Amaratunga, myself, and some, of course, the Vice Chairman also has 5 years working experience in Japan, so that in future we can mobilize our lessons, what we learn from Japan, to collaborate, to link Sri Lankan universities and schools with Japan. Saying that, I will stop my speech. Thank you very much for joining with us today.